and free your mind, inspired about the me and the you. True information. Connect the dots. Big picture. Conscious. Who knows?
I was talking about many different aspects of the pyramids and why and what for they were built. But today I'm going to talk about a little bit unusual aspects. And this information, this topic I'm going to talk about will give you much more wide perspective. And we should start from the pictures probably you have seen many times. If you take a look on the pyramids, you will see them all over the planet. Just think, thousands of pyramids, varieties of forms and configurations. It manifests the idea that all pyramids had different prescription and different function, and they were built based on different principles. What were that ideas and principles? What was the stimulus, main stimulus, capable to make to build a lot of pyramids, thousands of pyramids all over the world? The oldest rock paintings, which consider as a traces of the creativity of primitive people, in reality contains information that suggests quite a different opinion. Those who left these paintings were very knowledgeable, and they understood the importance for the future generations to immortalize the information that human energy structure, for example, consists not of 7 energetical bodies, but of 12. So this is the moment where we have finished, and I tried to show you this very old rock painting. It looks unusual, or maybe for most of the people very, very, very simple, but I'd like to interpret it for you. So, first of all, this represents not 7, 12 energetical bodies. And what is important here, this picture says that the 12th energetical body is the God. It means that, in reality, each of you are closely connected to Creator through this energetical shell. You see here, there is a very special symbol, here and here. It shows that between a certain energetical shells, there is a membranes, and penetration through this energy membranes, the energy penetration from one shell to another plays a decisive role. In some other, for example, Egyptian texts, we find information about knowledge of consciously controlled reincarnation. This picture, ancient picture, show that they knew exactly how to calculate cycles of the periods when the door between our world and the gods was opened. So in the history of our civilization, there were special turning events which played a crucial role in the history of our civilization. Analyzing the role of these events, I have got a sense of the presence of a very special kasta. Kasta, it's like in India, 3 Ks.
As a kasta.
Kasta, 3 kasta. There is a special kasta. It's very small, almost invisible group of people. But this small group of people always affected the fate of our civilization. And for the first time, I noticed, I just localized the presence of this group when I was investigating the documents about Atlantis. And that was a very small group which called producers of mirrors and lenses. Mirrors and lenses. This is the most important instruments to talk with a subtle, with invisible plane. And what is important, that this small invisible group was always somewhere close to the rulers, but at the same time, they were very far from them. Important is that the traces of this group we can notice only many, many years later after events. In the last century, or a previous century, the footprints of this group and the activity of this group we can notice in the two most powerful special services. I'm talking about secret services. And as I said, as the rule, the highest state leadership never knew about these people. And what is important that this group never revealed themselves under any circumstances, even in case of mortal danger. You see again, I don't know why, we do not see this, what's going on. Sure. Because I made a lot of different marks in my presentation, because the first one, main, which I brought here, was lost. I had very, very fast to take the information from somewhere and to make a presentation for you, so that you would clearly see these very important aspects, because these small aspects are always in the shadow. And what I also noticed, that if any topic worldwide very actively discussed, especially on TV or radio, it means zero. For our evolution, zero. But any information which is critically important is always in the shadow. And while our friends are trying to make an arrangement with computer to start working, I'd like to ask you, do you remember the most interesting, unusual event which took place at the end of 2009? A very unusual event over Moscow. Do you remember? No. It was huge pyramid-shaped UFO hovering over the Kremlin at night for 4 hours. Did you hear about it? That's the case. That's the case. But why it is so important? Because if you remember 2008, 2009, and 2010, in connection with, for example, Mr. Putin. Do you remember? Before, he was just a politician, just normal, silent politician. But right after the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, he came out on the stage. America, the question, what really happened? This is what I'm going a little bit to talk about. So today we have touched the idea about the presence of a very closed, top secret group, very small group of people, which is always here, somewhere here. And this group, for the whole history of our civilization, were affecting the stages of development. And if you want to know, to see the truth which stands behind, always keep in mind that there is plus and minus, good or evil, even among the people of these groups. And this situation is projection of what is going above. You remember this Hermetic text which says, which above, so down. And as I already mentioned, that they were, it works, good. Yeah, good. Oh. It demands two. Yeah. No, let's make it like this. And you see, there is even music now. Okay, great. Thank you. Danke. Vielen Dank. So, as I already told, during the history, I'm talking about at least 1,000 years back, we, Russians and Germans, have been so closely connected that You, on your territory, have so many Russian names of the rivers. We have so many Germans living in Russia. Actually, during our history, we had our Tsars have been from Germany. And when European politicians says about the culture in Russia, I say, come on, who was the leaders of the Russia for the last 300-400 years? That was the kings from Germany. But thanks to Julia Koster, she's lovely, lovely lady, you can't imagine. She is now translating my book from Russian into German. We are translating at the same time, we are correcting English version. And it is very easy, fully, correctly to translate from Russian into German, and it's impossible to do from Russian into English. And this is the reason why, within the last century and this century, these two most important groups were concentrated in Russia and in Germany. So, I think you do recognize this symbol. This is an Erbe. We will speak a bit later. And this is the symbol of Russian, the same type of secret service called NKVD, which means People's Commissariat of Internal Affairs of the Soviet Union. 21st of January, 1924. The leaders of all communists all over the world died. Lenin has died. And the first mausoleum for his body appeared right in 6 days. This first one was made of wood. And it had 3-step pyramid on top, made of wood too. And then it was announced kind of a competition for all architects to offer projects for future mausoleum. And this is exactly the right time for you to ask, well, what is in reality a mausoleum? Anything in this world has a very special and deep meaning. And you should clearly understand this meaning. Otherwise, you will be always in the darkness of ignorance. And here you can see just the drawings of some of the projects of the future mausoleum. And here you can see these projects of ordinary architects. You can judge it by the elements of ornamentation and common symbols for many monuments in different countries and different times. Sure, there were many special details in each structure, which in ancient times had been used for special purposes. But the most of that projects and these elements, they were using the elements of ornamentation without understanding of the function. And this is a very direct and pure indication that these projects are made by simple, ignorant people. There were 117 different projects, and most of them were far away from the knowledge. But just very few of them, like this one, for example, smells serious. And then appeared some real serious projects like this one. But there was only one project which won 100%. And when the group where Stalin was the head saw this project made by architect Shushev, they said, this one, only this one. Attention, here we are. This guy was very close to the people we are talking to. So his name is Alexei Shushev. And here you can clearly see the structure of the Sumerian zikkurat. This is the next mausoleum built made of wood. But before we go on, let's ask, what is actually zikkurat? What it is? Stepped pyramid called zikkurat. And you probably saw this structure. It has overall telescopic structure, where steps were tuned on a human body. With the help of zikkurat, it was possible to talk with gods and with the spirits, transfer energy into the subtle world, and in return receive power and knowledge about the future. So, zikkurat, built by Alexei Shushev, has duodecimal system. It had 24-meter base and 12-meter high. All elements of ziggurat had a very special proportion. So this ziggurat have been built on 1930. It was built and was made of a stone. Stones which had two sacred colors, black and red, which the material was transported from Iraq. Peoples from all over the world, they are looking on this ziggurat, and they do not even suspect what secrets are keeping in this simply looking structure. On the first glance, it's a usual classical ziggurat, but it has very unusual elements. You see, like all ziggurats, they have just 90 degrees corners like this, but the right corner has a very unusual structure. This is antenna. And from the first moment, it was invented so that all people which were moving or passing the mausoleum of Lenin, they were looking on the mausoleum. And the energy from them were moving to mausoleum, and this antenna was accepting this energy. From 1930, all the people were moving this direction, not the opposite. People just visiting the mausoleum, just to see, or certain, holidays or whatever, celebration of whatever. Millions of people, for many, many years, they were moving, passing, and giving very important psychic energy to this ziggurat. You see? This hand is like this, and this hand is like this. This is the symbol for those who understand that this is the object to receive and accept the energy. Ooh. In few ancient Egyptian texts, I found an information that properly built pyramid and ziggurat are capturing the spirit. They just cut the spirit and keep it here. So for last, let's say, at least, 18, almost 19 years, millions of people were bumping energy into the spirit of Vladimir Lenin. Any person, who entered this ziggurat or who passed the ziggurat, their aura have been affected by this program. And this is the reason why it was impossible to fight against communist Soviet Union. It's impossible. Because that was very strong, powerful program on the mental, on the conscious level. And by a very special reason, which you understand, this place was the favorite place where Stalin was standing. Now, seeing all this, tell me, do you really believe that it was possible to fight against this country? In any war. This war would never, ever will be won. Never. If you take into account the history of the war, you will see, and today I will help you to see, some facts which you even couldn't imagine. And the other group of enlightened, that means people who had the knowledge, they knew about the mechanism which have been used in Soviet Russia. So now let's get back to anderen. And we will start from following. The next part will be of my presentation. I'd like to begin with a very important idea. Those who know the past control the future. Do you agree? So if actually you Germans, if you want to control your future, like we Russians, if we want to control the future, we need to know our past. The anderen organization, the only one in the whole world, because they were Germans, in a certain way, in a certain time, you have been the best. You have received so powerful funding that its activities and interests controlled all aspects of life of the Third Reich. For the first time, the scope, the scale of the work of anderen was was announced at the Nuremberg Trail. The achievements of Ahnenerbe and its influence were so colossal that recognizing Ahnenerbe as criminal organization, I'd like to point out, they announced that Ahnenerbe is the criminal organization and condemning its members. The prosecutor of Nuremberg Trail didn't say a word. What exactly, which event decided the outcome of the war? No any hint. What task and what levels the Ahnenerbe was able to decide and work? The fate of Ahnenerbe was decided not by outcome of the war, which was just a convenient excuse to quietly redistribute the interest and to remove outside the brackets those activities which has always remained in the shadow. On spring 1942, when Nazi troops appeared in the northern Caucasus, a strange ceremony took place. 3 SS alpinists climbed to the top of Elbrus mountain. This is very important details. Elbrus, the sacred mountains of Aries, the cradle of ancient civilizations, magic peak of the sect Friends of Lucifer, sacred peak of the mountain, peak of the mountain, which there was a sect called Friends of Lucifer. These details are critically important, otherwise you will miss idea. You will miss idea. So, the blessing, so they went there and put on top of the mountain the flags with swastika. Blessing of the flag on the top of Elbrus was the mark of the beginning of new era. And what happened next is exactly usage of the same mechanism which have been used in Lenin's mausoleum. Maybe you remember that the beginning and the middle of 1942, there was the moment when Nazi announced that very soon appears a new, very special weapon, like new Waffe, which will help to win the war. Nazi army, the spirit was very successful, very successful. And by a very strange reason, Hitler make an order. And a special group of troops called Edelweiss, you maybe remember Edelweiss. This is the flower, Edelweiss. This...
Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Edelweiss, yeah, Edelweiss, yeah.
Edelweiss. This is the troops of very young people, 24 years maximum. All of them, they were mountain climbers, all. By strange reason, they are moved, all more than 40,000 of them moved from the line of interaction between Russian wars and German wars to Caucasus Mountains. And what they do, they defend only one road which leads to the peak of the mountain. Just try to understand, the big group, the best, just were removed and the place on the front was empty. It means this is the worst thing which could be done at this situation, at that moment, for the German army. But General Conrad had nothing to do than to say, yes, Führer. On the night of October 1942, at the floor of Elbrus mountain landed a German aircraft. Can you imagine? They built a landing area in the mountains very fast. Out of this aircraft came some officers of SS officers and Tibetan monks. And this group, chanting the mantras, started to move to the top of the mountain. On the way to the mountain, there was a very special place prepared. Top secret information, because you will never ever heard it. I have found it very occasionally, and I hope I will not be killed for that. This place in the mountain was a very powerful chakra on the body of the planet. And they built exactly on this place kind of, let's call it energetical, like a tank, like a source. This group of monks, dressed in white, and officers of SS dressed in black, two sacred colors, they came to this bunker, and then they stood on their knees. And one of them, let's say, they made a transition from the physical plane to the energetical plane. How? Concentration, main idea, clear brains, come here, and then move there. Energetically, spiritually, moved in the source. Understood? All of them moved there. And that was the moment when the success of German army was awful, just awful. All these people who actually left their bodies, they were put in a special way, and on top of the bodies, they made a swastika. That was realization of technology for full control over whole world. And nobody could do anything against it. No. A group of monks, Tibetan monks, and a group, specially prepared group of SS officers. They died. Then, no. If you can say, this body, he is dead, he is died. He's not died. He moved, consciously moved from the body.
But who shot them? Who shot them?
Otherwise, you cannot leave your body.
Who was it who shot them?
One of the groups. And then the last one made the same.
And all of them were killed?
Yeah.
Monks and the...
Yes. And what is important? Do you understand that what you know about the war is nothing? It has nothing to reality. Reality is here. Can you imagine the level of knowledge of anderen people? You know, it takes. I can write the book like this, with absolutely stunning information about this, like this. But at the same time, I found the name of the man, actually German officer, but who was born in Caucasus Mountains, many years before. He just moved from Russia, from Caucasus, and lived in Greece, lived in Spain, lived in Italy. And he was what we call the spy who somehow gave this information to NKVD. People's Commissariat of Internal Affairs, very special groups like anderen in Soviet Secret Service system. His name was Anatoly Kunizhev. Anatoly Kunizhev. This is, let's say, it's a top. No, you will never find it, this information, never. But Anatoly Kunizhev, this is important. All this information is toppest secret until 2035. But I was lucky to find the members of the family of those people who took part in these following events. So, this event with monks, with Tibetan monks and SS officers, took place on the night of 29th of October, 2042. And right after that, it was a very special order, mission from top of Russian leaders to create a special group of climbers, also very specially prepared young boys. Young, it means for me, young, 25, 26, 30, it's a young boys, you know. And they started to prepare themselves, just creating a group. They even, at a certain moment, they came to their families and said, we go not to fight like in the front, there in the direction of Germany, we go to the Caucasus Mountain. This is the last words of them, last. And they said, we all will not return. And just shortly, this group came to Elbrus Mountain, and on 29th of January 1943, they went up there and destroyed this tank, and then they made the same transition from the body into energetical level. On the 29th of January 1943, if you remember, German troops immediately, all of them started to move back to Germany. And this was the case why Adolf Hitler was absolutely crazy. But this is another story. I have no time to give you important details to complete the whole picture. Important is that from 2043 until the end of 60s, this territory was fully closed for anybody. 1943 till the end of 60s. No even local people, nobody could enter this territory. And just guess what was done there by NKVD. You see these very unusual aspects. And again, don't think about it from the positive or negative. Russians or Germans, brothers of Lucifer or whatever. No, just technology. We are talking about technology. Who gave us this technology? In ancient texts, we can find an answer. This information was very well spread among generations of the priests in hieratic schools of ancient Egypt, for example. Who were those who gave the knowledge and where did they come from? For this, we need to look on this map. From Sumerian and Egyptian texts follows that the gods, civilizers, came down not from distant cosmos. They came from planet Mars, which ancient Sumerian texts called Nibiru. Nibiru, this is the ancient name of Mars. And from Maldek, in ancient Sumerian texts called Tiamat, which later have been destroyed and formed the asteroid belt. An indication that gods of heaven and the earth came from Mars, the gods of Earth and the cosmos, you know.
Die Götter der Erde und des Kosmos.
Mars. We can find in survived ancient monuments. One of such monuments is the pyramid complex in Teotihuacan, Mexico. It was conceived, designed, and structured as the embodiment in stone of a model of a solar system. Here you can see the map, the schema of the complex, where you can see the pyramid of Kukulkan, pyramid of the sun, and pyramid of the moon. But if you put on this complex, or if you look on this complex from the height of 5-7 kilometers, just wishing to see this cosmic connection, let's put a structural map of a solar system on top of it. And then everything becomes clear. The main pyramids of the complex are modeling the sun and the orbital position of two planets in our solar system. The pyramid of Kukulkan occurs or occupies the place of the Mars, where Kukulkan came from. The pyramid of the moon stands exactly on the orbit of the Earth. That means we should immediately change the name of this pyramid from the pyramid of the moon to the pyramid of the Earth. To highlight, to see more clear this connection, that the pyramids are modeling the planets, modeling the Mars and the Earth. We should just look on the parameters of these two planets. Pyramid of the Earth is 42 meters high. The pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, 22 meters, or Mars, 22. Which, you see, these parameters, the difference is 1:0.538. It exactly corresponds to the ratio of the equatorial diameters of these two planets. Thus, according to Hermetic texts, what was below was constructed according to what is above. It is no coincidence that the city of the gods, Teotihuacan, was also called the dwelling place of those who knows the way to the gods. The way from celestial home of the gods to their earthly place of living. Look, you see, like Teokan didn't simply reproduce the layout of the sky on the ground. The stellar transcription, it reproduces the celestial plan of that part of the heaven where gods dwelt. This is exactly according to the ancient text. But the central road serves as a symbolic pointer to the place in the solar system from which planet and to which planet they came from. This is the reason why road to the pyramid, from the pyramid of the Mars, leads to the pyramid of the Earth. They came from Mars to the Earth. And then in the history there is a very important part devoted to the catastrophical events which took place in the solar system. Catastrophical in the history, in the ancient Egyptian texts, there is information about catastrophic events in the solar system. And the gods moved from destroyed Tiamat and from Mars to the other planet. Where did the god go? Let's return to the Egypt, to the Valley of the Death. There are few pictures on the walls of the chambers in the Valley of the Death which are giving exact information. Where did they go? Where did they go? This is the central part of the text. You see, this is the central part of this text, another text, but the same drawing. This is the same type of the text, different drawing. Yellow figure means the sun. And the erected penis and the sperm which falls on the head means giving life. You see this line? This is the orbit. Which orbit? Goes through the chakra. Which number? Number? 3. This is exact the orbit of the planet Earth in our solar system. The sun is looking for us. Sun is looking on us, is looking on the Earth. But on the orbit of the Earth, behind the sun, there is another planet. And this planet is bigger than the Earth. The same conditions as we have on the planet Earth. The mass of that planet is the mass of the planet Earth plus the mass of the moon. So you see, we are not alone in our solar system. To talk with the gods, they built the ziggurats we were talking today a little bit. And this, today, I just show you that the system of ziggurat is very unusual. This is the telescopic system, And with this telescopic system, like camera lens is moving higher or lower, it helps to tune the pyramid on one man or another man. And here on top of the pyramid is there was a very special lens for fine tune. And here on the sun pyramid, let's go. Okay. You see? I don't know why, but it doesn't work again. You see? Because all this knowledge, which actually I am trying step by step to show you, gives you idea and understanding that we are not talking about mystical stuff. We are not talking about religious aspect. We are talking about technology and mechanisms. And if we accept it on a proper level, we can use it today for our benefit. And today, I mean this time we are living now in a very special time, for us, for all of us, this is the very important chance. First of all, this knowledge will help us in the future to be in the position of a people whom nobody will fool again. And at the same time, we can use it for our daily benefit. We have been investigating the influence of the pyramid field on living and non-living origin for last 25 years in Russia. And all these experiments have been done, and this is very important, on a fully pure scientific basis. And it was done in academia on the level or on the base of Russian Academy of Science. Medical Academy of Science, Physical Academy of Science, Chemical Academy of Science, on all levels. And the result of this investigation gave us a very interesting and very important understanding. We came to understanding of at least 12 main stimulus why pyramids have been built in ancient times. What was that stimulus? First of all, this is the perfect tool against cancer. The pyramid is very deeply affecting our nervous system, calming it down and relieving any stress. Pyramid is stimulating our immune system, and beside it, it gives us a possibility to live very long. Why? Because pyramid is synchronizing human energetical system, whole aura, with the aura or energetical system of the earth. We know about yin-yang. All is okay. We don't know about one important aspect. Yin and Yang are two flows of time.
Yin und Yang sind zwei verschiedene Flussrichtungen der Zeit.
In ancient Egypt, they called it baka. If one flow of time will be higher than the other, for example, speeding up the processes in the body, we will be living short. If some teachers, spiritual teachers, say that interacting with the natural energy, we are slowing down the inner biological time. During meditation, they teach you that during meditation, when we become a carrier, bearer of the energy, it helps us and slow down the inner biological time. And from this, they say, the slower time, the longer we live. This is biggest mistake. When you slow down your time, next moment, no more than 3 months, cancer, you are dead. The ancient Egyptian text says clearly and very, very scientifically that energetical body of the earth and the energetical bodies of the human being should be synchronized, and then your inner biological time is conserved. And from this moment, you can live thousands of years.
Why did they stop it? Why does nobody practice this philosophy of synchronization?
Important moment. Why you do not practice it? Why? Here is an answer. Nobody knows. Yeah. This is why I'm here. Everything is very simple. This is the protuberance on top. This is the traces of that antenna. So, when we learned a lot about the pyramid, we have decided to build the first in the world complex of the pyramid. In this very unusual, for your brains, very unusual examples with Lenin, with Mausoleum, and with Anna Nerva, I showed you that this is very serious. And this is the reason why in Russia we took it very serious and decided to use it in a practical life. On 2011, I had a meeting with a person who asked me, is it possible to create a pyramidal structure to stimulate creative abilities of the kids, pupils, and students? Sure, we can. And from 2011, we started to build the complex of the pyramids in the middle of Russia. We made a choice of the place by a very special reason. This is exactly 10 minutes to drive from the Tomsk city. Tomsk is about 1 million people. Sometimes this city has up to 400,000 students. Under this complex, 300 meters deep, there is a huge lake, huge underground lake. And when somebody asked me how far pyramid can affect by its field, well, which territory can be affected by the pyramid? Answer is clear. If your pyramid is standing close to the water, and this water, like a river, goes to the ocean, so you can affect the whole world. This is the reason why old ancient temple and pyramid complexes have been built close to the water. If there were no water, they made the sacred lakes. by hands. There is another reason. Pyramid has a very powerful energy, and our immune system immediately rejects any strong influence. Doesn't matter what type, just rejects. It's too high. Correct. Immune system immediately attacks, reacts. Why? Because, for example, now you are sitting here after your coffee, after your breakfast, whatever, and your immune system is keeping you in more or less stable position, okay? And then when I will bring here a powerful pyramid, and it will affect your system, right? And your condition, oops, in a positive way, doesn't matter. But immune system says, no, it should be like this, in a balance. It's critically important to understand. Water is the only one substance in the whole universe which transforms the energy flow into the range acceptable for human energetical body and organism. This is critically important to understand. Spectrum, otherwise it doesn't work. So this is the reason why we built it here, over the lake. Here in general you can see the structure of the pyramid. It's a central pyramid. Inside you can see 25 pyramid-shaped chambers. This is another cross-section. Here you can see like a channel. You see? It goes from the ground up to the top of the pyramid without any interference. This is another model. This is for the water. Tanks for the water inside of the pyramid. Now you know why. In the middle, there is a huge crystal. The pyramid is standing on the 12-sided foundation. The crystal is inside there. Energy, any energy flow which comes from the ground has negative aspect. More or less, all have negative aspect. To cut this negative aspect, we need to build a special resonator. In ancient times, for such reason, they built a 12-facet structures. So shortly you can see how we built it. And then this is just very short, brief information about construction process. And here we built the first one, central pyramid. On top of the pyramid, you can see such a big quartz pyramidium, 80 kilograms quartz pyramidium. Capstone is critically important, critically. This biggest in the world quartz crystal, really biggest, stands in the middle of the pyramid, in the central energetical system of the pyramid. This is the place called Oracle Chamber. The name explains Oracle. So this is the central pyramid. Here you can see how the whole complex will be looking like when we will complete it. You see, all these pyramids are forming a very precise system, so-called energetic pyramid. So last year, last year, we built these 8 pyramids. And this is the construction of that pyramids. You can see also a few pictures from the construction process. And you see, behind this pyramid there are 3 more, and they are looking like the one. This is another picture. And here I'd like to point out main pyramid, the second one, third one, and then will be another 4th one in a row, following the principle yin-yang. Baka, following the principle, physical and energetical. You understand that our physical body cannot exist without energetical plane. The same principle here. On one hand, we build physical pyramids, but we must build energetical one. Otherwise, complex will not work, how it must work. So this year, we built, you see the line pyramids here, you see this like square. In the corner of all this square, this corner is in the forest, we build very unusual structures. You see this line? And here, we built something like this, like the system to support the so-called octahedrons. We do it the same way as ancient Egyptians did. We make them like we pour them with a natural concrete in the ground, and then you see, it's unusual, very unusual. This is the pyramid, to the pyramid on the system. Inside of this pyramid, there is a very special energetical system. We call it gun, energetical gun. Through this pyramid goes energetical beam, like a thread. And it hits exactly the peaks of all pyramid, coming to the central pyramid. This is the octahedron which stands in the forest. So, now, I'd like to give you an idea about the future city, which actually we are going to build next years. We actually already defended, we call it to defend project before the government, let's say. This is the pyramid complex. Here will be the school, kindergarten, business offices, the other structures, where people should think. Here they will be living. This is our own airport. And here I will show you a few pictures how it will be looking like. So this is the central complex of the pyramid. It will be looking like this from the aircraft. This one. You see? Business school, business centers. All people can come into the complex, work there, relax there, do anything for free. This is actually a recreation area and with the lakes where people can swim. All buildings which are looking on the pyramids, their surface will be covered with mirrors, mirror glasses, to reflect the energy which is emitting by pyramids back to the pyramids. And by this way, by this simple technology, we can much, thousands of times increase, empower the energy influence of the pyramid. Recreation area. So this is how we are going to use it in practical life. Here also will be small complex like, hotels where people can come with their families and spend there 1, 2, 3 days, week, 2 weeks, as much as you want. Yes. It will be forbidden to move inside of the complex in the normal gas car, only electrical cars. Also, you see mirrors. Those sides who are looking on the complex will be just the mirrors. This is general idea. Actually, I'm showing this on the second conference. Just most part of the world do not know about it. This is also some of the projects which we did and are doing now. This is the pyramid which plays the role of the office, and actually here this living area and the office inside. This is just version for the living area. For meditation. So all most interesting details about the pyramid's effect and the protocols of scientific investigation you can find in this book. This book is now under translation into German language, and it looks like it's going to be perfect translation. Here, the website, if you want, you can go in and to see more details about our projects. New Pyramids RuCom site. And now, just before we complete, it's a private money. One private person. Yeah, just before, I'd like to give you one warning. Just because to what I'm going to say, I have a direct connection. So, oh yeah, and what? I don't know why. And anyway, while he's doing, if you have any questions, just ask.
She wants to buy an apartment over there. How do you do that?
Actually, welcome. No, really, you have seen my email. If you really want, there will be apartments for selling. Will be for sure. Because this is one of the projects, small project, how to return money to get more and to invest more money in the city. Possible. You can contact me directly or Julia, please. She speaks perfect German, perfect English, And she is actually my representative in the Europe, so please help me in this way. So you can contact her and she will answer all your questions, practical ones.
In the beginning, you were talking about the connection between the pyramid of the Kremlin and Putin. Mm-hmm. You didn't follow your statement. So.
What connection? I would tell like this. Something happened, something. Because after that moment, the way of thinking and the behavior of Putin have been changed completely. Try to understand. I am just registering the fact. The first fact, this huge, by the way, pyramid-shaped UFO, which first time was mentioned in ancient Sumerian text. And 2 years ago, during my short presentation, I showed up that this pyramid-shaped UFO had connection with Gilgamesh. What is important? Again, someone interfere in the history development of the world. Someone. First, it's appeared on the Kremlin. Just few days later, I think you can guess where it's appeared second time. Can you guess? No? China. Yeah, the same UFO appeared over China, was hovering at night over China. Now ask, what's going on with Putin and with China? Ask yourself. I am not a politician. I just analyzing the facts, okay? And the third country where UFO appeared, this one, where? America. America. Maybe we didn't notice it, maybe. So, it stopped working completely. And anyway, then we have a chance to talk. Try to understand. This is one of the reasons I'm Russian man. I know something about Putin, let's say like this, some ideas. But this is one of the reasons why Putin is so constantly, daily, tries to knock at the door of German politicians. Please open your doors. Please open your doors. Because we have absolutely amazing chance. What?
He should know that Berlin is only puppets on a string.
No.
Yes, they are.
We can make a taste of the blood, okay? Your blood and mine are equal. Why you should know your history? This is the reason. This is another reason why I like Putin very much. He knows about our prehistory a lot. Last year, I was working and building a pyramid in Austria. That was absolutely amazing experience. I would be really happy to build anything with you Germans because you do everything. It means altogether we can create a lot of really wonderful stuff. Any more questions? You know, in anything you have heard today, in anything you can find in the internet, there is nothing from me personally, nothing. I have no rights. I don't want to express or to bring in this world my own ideas. I'm just working with the ancient texts, and very honestly, I'm just transforming it into understandable language and give it to you. Just take it and use it. This is my principle. By many, many reasons I'm here, not only because we have one and the same blood, not because we have prehistory and actually doesn't matter. I'm not talking about the wars, nothing. We admire Germans, and you know why. You have a really strong spirit. You have a so interesting, so wonderful history that I am sure that we have a wonderful chance to be those who will positively influence whole world. We have this capacity, we have this chance. Moreover, in Germany, there are few energetical points which has connection to the territories on the whole Europe. It means building the pyramids here, we can affect whole Europe. Actually, if you look further, the whole planet. This is the chance. And I know also the last idea. in the history, let's say, in the visual history, we probably, not even probably, I say we have a chance to fulfill this idea. From my heart, I want to tell you, great thanks for your patience. In spite of all these technical problems, you have been here with me.
Technischen Probleme.
Mm-hmm.
I see that someone using it. Could you talk a little bit about the meaning? Is that protection in this case, or is it really getting and receiving energy from the audience?
No. Again, let's go back to the mausoleum. When you see Lenin laying in this position, this is just a symbol for those who understand that he is the center of the system which accumulates the energy, receives and accumulates.
So that person knows that knowledge and takes the energy.
Everything is more. Do you really believe, do you understand, do you realize the existence of the parallel dimensions? Do you or not?
No.
Yeah?
Power of what?
Actually, okay, if you do not, this is the last important idea. Parallel to us, here on the planet, there are many dimensions where the same planet Earth, you also exist. Somewhere you are children, somewhere you are adults, somewhere you didn't burn yet, somewhere the country is thousands of years back. And when the energy through mausoleum is bumping in Lenin, it means that in the parallel dimension he is getting support. And revolution in Russia will happen. And do you know why? Do you know why? For me, it was real little bit strange. But in any way, truthfully, honestly, from my heart and from my brain, what we call first Russian October Revolution was the process stimulated by Shambhala.
You know, I have heard a lot of times that in the mausoleum of Lenin is only, or the body of Lenin is only a good work by Madame Tussauds.
What?
Yeah, I understood.
It's,
and even when I was, I visited the mausoleum in Moscow, I always had to be moving. There's a soldier, the soldier told me, don't stop, keep on moving.
That's right. So everything is simple. Go in internet, just simply go in internet. And just, type Lenin in mausoleum. And you will see thousands of pictures. And you will see that the body of the Lenin was changed step by step. Now, after, more than 86, almost 90 years, is in a pretty, bad condition. But important is not the body. Important is the spirit of Lenin inside this zikurat. The spirit inside of zikurat. Body means nothing.
Der Körper meint gar nichts.
When people are coming, they need to see.
Nur Menschen müssen was sehen.
Whom they obey. Whom. This is just a symbol.
Das ist nur ein Symbol.
But energy goes not to the body.
Ja.
Energy
Die Energie
goes to
ist
the
dann nicht mehr
spirit.
im Körper drin.
It's clear. It's very simple.
Eine Frage noch?
Yeah, hello. This was a great lecture. This year I started...
In German.
Achso, okay. Ja, ich habe dieses Jahr auch angefangen, so ein paar Edelsteinpyramiden und Orgonitpyramiden zu sammeln. Und das, was die da jetzt über Tomsk erzählt hatten, habe ich mir überlegt, wäre das für eine Privatperson möglich, das irgendwie zu kopieren, selber nachzubauen? Im kleinen Maßstab.
Okay. So he's actually experimenting with precious stone pyramids at home, and he's asking how is it perhaps possible to reproduce your role model in Tomsk in a private scale in our environment here, German, like micro little thing. How would you suggest to step forward?
Okay, I'll give you an answer. I can make such a small Mercedes.
Ich kann so einen kleinen Mercedes machen.
With doors.
Mit Türen.
With brakes. With engine.
Mit allem drum und dran.
Eating benzene. And will it be equal, the same, this one and the big one? Will it be the same?
Werden es die gleichen sein, die beiden?
This is an answer. No. If you want to have a really good pyramid at home,
wenn Sie wirklich eine gute Pyramide zu Hause haben möchten,
working model, really working model,
wirklich funktionierendes Modell,
it must have very precise dimensions.
Es muss eine gewisse Größe haben.
It should be first minimum. It should be in resonance with the Cheops pyramid.
Also es sollte in Resonanz mit der Cheops-Pyramide sein.
In height.
In der Höhe.
It should have a mass.
Und die Masse
starting from 100 kilograms.
Von 100 Kilogramm aufwärts. Masse, ja, 100 Kilogramm Masse.
And then this pyramid will be working. Wow.
Und dann arbeitet die
Otherwise,
Pyramide.
it's just very small, looking like a natural, but
es geht vor allem um die Proportionen. In einem harmonikalen Maßstab muss man die runterskalieren von dieser großen Cheops und kann nicht irgendeine Größe nehmen, sondern das muss in dem Verhältnis sein. Und dann eben Minimum 100 Kilo, ne?
It should be. Danke.
Bitte.
Für alle.
Wake up inside and free your mind. Inspired about the me and the you. Truth. Information. Connect the dots. Big picture. Conscious. Who knows?